Viking fans. We're going to go SKOL Searching tonight. What that is, I have no idea. We're going to find out next in 3, 2, 1. Gather around, SKOL brothers and sisters. This is SKOL World, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dave. You can follow me on Twitter at TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at SKOL World. I'm going to find out right now what the heck SKOL Searching is, and I'm going to have Justin tell me. Go ahead, Justin. First of all, tell me where we can find you. I'm going to have your media in the description below, but go ahead and tell the listeners where we can find you.
Yeah, we just did some rebranding, but Instagram is SKOL Searching. Twitter, we've got SKOL Searching and the Eddie 69, which is the kind of parody trophy account. And then YouTube as well, kind of a fresh account, actually trying to get regular content on there. But that's also SKOL Searching. So pretty much everything's SKOL Searching.
So let's talk about what is SKOL Searching. I want to know.
Yeah, so it's been evolving and moving, but obviously during COVID, we had some downtime, some free time. And, it just, this idea hit me. And I said, my whole life, it was my dream to be a Vikings player. And obviously, when I realized that dream couldn't happen, I didn't want to just fall into that stereotypical couch quarterback or super fan that just kind of obviously that support is important, but I wanted to be more directly involved and feel like I really had a role. And so I came up with this idea that kind of had a deep meaning and kind of had a fun meaning up front. And basically the Vikings' only championship that they ever won was in 1969, the Ed Thorpe. And there's always different crazy stories about the trophy being lost and stolen and curses. And I said, you know what? I'm going to recreate this trophy. And if there's a curse behind it, if it's in all of our heads, if it's in the state of Minnesota's heads, I want to find a way to eliminate it and, help this team in any way possible. So spent 2 years basically recreating the trophy, trying to market it, trying to get it in the Vikings Museum, just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah. So that is the thing you're holding in my thumbnail. Yeah. Is that okay? Hey, a little bait and switch, guys. I got Justin. I do not have the blonde on the show, but hey, it was good marketing on my part. Could you explain who that is? Is that a friend of yours? Oh, your wife, your girlfriend? Who is that?
Okay, so I do have a beautiful blonde in the house. That is my girlfriend. But in the picture,
good job, man.
the picture is actually a hired model. So.
Okay. Yeah. You got to. So hired model. Well, hey, she did a good job. She wears the Vikings colors very well. Hey, glad to have you on. I am the life. McAndrews, thanks for showing up, man. Appreciate it. You're always a loyal listener. My worthless opinions actually are pretty good. They're not totally worthless. And Scott Rodriguez, hey Justin, is that a fan of yours? Is that a listener here?
Unfortunately, a Giants fan, but great guy. Good
dude. I'm having a Giants fan coworker on tomorrow on my show. I was like, I ran out of. I have guests for Wednesday. I got Thursday. I got probably gonna have Friday all next week, but I could not get someone for tomorrow. So I invited a Giants fan on to rub it into us. So check that one out.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. So there's my sister.
Gotcha. Oh, this is your sister? Hey,
yeah, that's my sister.
How do you say it? Raul?
Rayal.
That's even prettier. All right. Bailey is hot. Okay.
That's my girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I hear. That's what he's telling me. I said thumbs up. Good job. All right. Well, so how long you been dating then? Since we're talking about your girlfriend.
So we met on the Niners game in 2020 at a Vikings club. And I was only a week out of a relationship. So, things started a little bit slow. But we met 3 years ago. We had our anniversary dinner actually before this podcast. So
awesome. Me and my wife, we met shortly after previous relationships too. It just kind of worked out. So I know the feeling. So do you live in the area of Minneapolis?
I'm actually in Tampa, Florida.
Do you know where I am?
Um,
You,
I think you're in North Dakota, South Dakota.
no, I live in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida.
No
Okay,
shit. We should have a Florida Viking fan. I have posts on Tampa's fan page all the time.
that's actually our club.
That so go on there. I post almost every day on their
Now, is
fan
it
club.
is it Tampa Bay Norsemen or Tampa Viking
Oh
fans of
shit.
Tampa Bay?
Oh shit. I don't know. I'll
Because
find out.
there's two clubs. We kind of merged, but we've watched the games with Tampa Bay or Viking fans of Tampa Bay. The Tampa
Well,
Bay Norsemen.
I'll soon to find out that the other one's name, and then I'll be post on them too. I post on this will go out to like close to 60 Facebook pages after we're done. So
You
just
probably
to let you
post
know.
on Dave Bunker. I think it's Dave Bunker's page probably.
Oh,
On that
she's the biggest
one's.
Viking fan. They are so adorable. She's on here. Hey, what was he like, Rael, when he was a kid? Was he as awesome as he is now, or was he kind of a dork growing up? Tell us the truth. Tell us. Okay, you said you played sports. What sports did you play, man?
So I played football, hockey, soccer. Honestly, I played a lot of sports, but more seriously, hockey and football and soccer.
But you live in Tampa. Where are you? Are you from Florida? Or are you from Minnesota? Tell me the
So
story. How'd
so
you become a fan? Here's the story. Here's how Justin from SKOL Searching became a fan. Go ahead.
it's interesting. It's so my dad, they're all from Long Island. My parents, New York, unfortunately, and my dad was raised a Giants fan, not like a diehard, but Giants fan. And
Is he a Fran Tarkenton fan?
so
That's usually the story.
yeah, so my grandparents were going to divorce around his freshman year, and Tarkington, I think around 72, had made the flip back to Minnesota. And I think my dad was trying to rebel a little bit, and he said it was a sign because his high school he transferred to was purple and gold, and so he jumped ship to probably piss my grandpa off, and became a fan because of Tarkington. So yeah, that's why.
I'm not lying. That's how, when I went to various fan clubs I moved around a lot, Nashville, South Carolina, and Florida, a couple different places. And it always seemed if I met New Yorkers and they saw me wearing a Viking hat or something, they were like, they told me their story, and it was always either Fran Tarkington or just everybody loved the Purple People Eaters. And that was we were the first team to 4 Super Bowls, first team to lose 4 Super Bowls, unfortunately. And you're the only guy I know that has a Twitter page, which I now follow, that supports the 1969 trophy. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of guys my age or younger. They like the history, but they're not as passionate. And I had a lot of knowledge, but nothing compared to what I thought I knew until I really spent almost 2 years on this project and just obsessed with the whole story in the 60s and everything. And it really changed me as a fan, going through all that.
So apparently you had a full beard, but shorter.
Yeah.
When you were a kid. I'm so happy your sister's on. This is awesome.
Yeah. A little scrawnier, a little skinnier, no beard as a kid, but
okay.
Came in nicely in my 20s.
Awesome. Yeah, a long now when did you move? So when you grew up, you born in Florida, you said, or you?
So I was in Massachusetts from 1 to 8, and then 8, pretty much 8 to now in Florida minus college and a few little ventures away, but Florida most of my life.
No, did you go to the previous Miami and Tampa game, the last ones, or this Tampa or this Miami game?
We didn't go to this year's Miami game. We went to,
I was there, man. You missed out.
We almost did. We had actually the guy that was on here's wedding is the reason why we didn't go.
Yeah, it was another 400 and some yard defensive performance by the Vikings. Although they didn't play too bad, they had 17 drives. So
I've been to every Tampa game against the Vikings since '95, and we went to Detroit and the Giants game, the first Giants game this year in Minnesota.
So we got an alchemy question here. What materials were used in the recreation of the 1969 trophy?
So
the Jim Thorpe Trophy, is it was called?
Ed Thorpe.
Ed Thorpe. I know Jim. I don't know Ed.
It
We don't
gets
go back.
confused and spelled wrong a lot because of that. I have a sheet that has the exact breakdown, but basically it was four materials: steel, aluminum, polyresin, and wood.
And I imagine that 2-inch chain you got going on is completely solid gold, right?
Solid gold. Yeah, JJ got that for me.
Gotcha. What are your plans for it? What's the future of SKOL Searching?
Well, I've been discussing that and kind of putting feelers out there and doing some polls. And my ultimate goal, yeah, but I did that. So I made a miniature trophy, not to veer off, but I made a miniature version for the Tampa club because I have the big one in Maple Grove. And I told my sister, I said, there's definitely I cut myself and I was starting to bleed and I made sure to get my blood on the mini trophy. And I was like, I could literally say a part of me is in this trophy, and I got blood, sweat, and tears. So what was the original question? Sorry. We were talking about
what your future of SKOL Searching is.
Oh yeah. So my goal is I always like to find that border of professionalism and just being kind of like a wild and crazy fan and doing always dumb stuff. And so my goal is kind of to have the most unique, crazy, dumb spin on anything I do, just to make it entertaining. And so topping the randomness of the last project will be tough, but I did a poll, and right now the most popular option is having Viking fans design my next Viking tattoo. So that would be
so you got some tattoos?
Yeah, I've got
any of them can be shown on camera without removing clothing right now, or
well,
like a shoulder or is it on your butt? I don't know. Oh, there we go. Show us some. What do we got here?
So some I can show.
Oh, damn.
Some I have to take my pants off, but
don't need to take. We'll go with this.
So I've got a female Valkyrie and the purple and gold shield on this one.
That's insane. That's awesome. That's a real good one.
And then I've got I've got the Mister, the King on that side. So that's
badass.
And then on my quad, I mean, it's not. I could take my pants off then show. It's just my quad, but basically on my quad, it was I was trying to promote the project, and I had got the Viking logo, the Ed Thorpe, and the Super Bowl. But when I had posted it, I had got my girlfriend to draw the Roman numerals of last year's Super Bowl. So I was trying to get it to go viral, so I'd get roasted for getting the Super Bowl year. Sure enough, no one really gave a shit. And then I was just like, well, I got this tattoo now. I got to put the real Super Bowl when we win it.
That's awesome. I notice you're sitting in the background. What the hell's that? There's a picture of you holding a Ed Thorpe trophy.
So an overpriced cutout during COVID. I supported the Vikings' little money drive.
Oh, that BS.
So basically I paid $150 to have a picture of me like an idiot with the Ed Thorpe in my hand.
I remember that, and that's funny though. Did you get a picture? I mean, did you get it on camera where you got to see it?
A couple of funny stories. So I got lucky though. I think maybe someone saw the trophy and they put me like a couple seats above Randy Moss, but I was like 2 seats away from Robert Smith. And I don't know if you follow Robert Smith, but he's real clean cut guy, real Christian.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, oh, this is a good idea to say something funny and get Robert Smith involved. So I tweeted to Robert. I was like, hey, Robert, pass me a popcorn. I'll get you a beer or something like that. And I started laughing because he tweeted back and he was like, no beer. How about a soda?
Oh,
and I was like, well, I still love you, Robert. I mean, come on, bro. You can't have a beer at the Vikings game, but all right, soda works.
No, that dude gave up some money, man. He retired a Viking, and he was about to get paid. And that's just, I guess he tried to go back. He went back to med school or something, and he ended up into broadcasting, and he hasn't looked back. So, what's he on now? Like, what's his main gig right now? Because it was college, but what is it now?
I'll be honest. I don't know. And I'm always rooting for him because I have seen some posts about he's a big mental health advocate. I know he's gone through some stuff, and I think he just took some time off, to be honest, and he was probably very smart with his money. But I don't really know what he's doing professionally. I think I've seen
him on Twitter today defending Kirk Cousins. So I mean, he actually he tweeted something about it being bad play and all, but now he's like, God, this is ridiculous. You guys saying, about Kirk Cousins. But when you watch, so this season, how did you feel about this season? Were you optimistic going in the season like I was? I thought we had a weaker schedule. Green Bay was going to be down. I didn't think the Lions were ready yet. They kind of look ready now, but then the Bears, I thought, were still going to be horrible, even though people are trying to talk them up. But I just felt like we were gonna, I picked 12-5. We ended up 13-4. I did not expect all these close games or the blowouts. I kind of feel like we were a 10 and like a 11-5 or a 10-7 team now. But what were you looking at going into the season?
So after everything that's happened in my whole life watching this team, every year I try to not be too optimistic and get my hopes up too much. With the whole trophy project, and there's a part of it that we talked about, hey, maybe this is a little bit of a, if the community and the team got behind this, it gives us that extra faith to believe, hey, let's get a monkey off our back and we don't have the past haunting us. So, last year, I really had a lot of high hopes, just thinking that things were going to start to turn around. After last year and the way it all ended, going into this year, I said, you know what, there's no way we won't be a better team, but I expect maybe a wild card, 8, 9, 10 wins, I'll be happy. And then, they found a way to get my hopes up. And the way the season was so weird and so magical and so many weird things were happening, I was truly starting to believe. I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is the energy I've tried to bring. This is part of the project, I said, but this feels like a different year. This feels like this could finally be it. And they got me. They got me again. Absolutely wrote me in to break my heart again.
Super Will, thanks for joining, man. Thanks for being on the channel last night. Super Will drove to Minneapolis to watch the game from Texas, proposed to his girlfriend last night, and then on his way back came on our show live on our post-game event line, which is the first post-game event line I ever did since I actually started this channel in April. That's when I jumped into the YouTube mix. And Super Will's been a loyal listener for a while now, and we got to break the news on the air to everybody that Super Will has proposed to his girl. Unfortunately, the Vikings lost, but everybody thinks congrats to Super Will. I wish this team would work together, then you can win. But yeah, so yeah, we got our hopes up. But honestly, I was thinking, if we win this game, I'm like, this will be the first game going into San Francisco that I was going to pick us to be 14-point dogs. First loss I was going to predict all season. Well, when the schedule came out, I predicted us 12-5, but as the season went on, I was like, I predict us to win every game, right? But going into every game. But this one, I would have been my first one saying, I think San Francisco was just too good. That's the way I felt about it. They're just too good. We're going on the road across, to California. I just, it's our defense, man. I don't know. What do you feel like? What's the main focus of why the season ended the way it was? It did. What do you think?
Just pointing to a reason, I know it's the biggest talk, but I think it was defensive coordinator, only because I looked and broke down
Texas
the position.
To Tennessee. My bad. Texas to Tennessee, but he watched the game. My bad. Here we go.
Congrats, by the way, too, and everything, Mr. Super Will. I honestly, we had the belief and we had the toxicity gone. We had the coaching staff on board, the new GM, new coaching staff. Everything was so good as far as energy. And even in our worst losses, as much as it was hard for the fans, I think that the team really bounced back from every tough loss. And I think the Bills game was the game that the team started to believe we can do this. We can win a Super Bowl. And I think looking at the talent of the team on defense, they shouldn't really be that bad. They really shouldn't. And I just really honestly think it's defensive schemes. But really, there's no explanation for losing that game, especially being at home. I don't think that they didn't come off a big win, because we all know the big game hangover.
The letdown.
There's no, it was such a Viking thing.
And we didn't lose 2 out of 3 games the entire season. We didn't have a 3-game stretch where we had 2 games in there that we lost. That was the first one.
Honestly, I there's every game I watch, I'll say, okay, the Packers and Cowboys game, it was a meltdown. Nothing went our way. The calls, nothing. The Lions game, it was just a frustrating, didn't quite get everything together, a few questionable calls. But it was like every loss, I felt the energy of why we lost, what happened. Kirk, no protection, getting killed. We lost O'Neal. We lost Bradbury. Coming to this game, we had time to prepare for was it Udo? Udo took O'Neal's spot.
Played well.
Yeah, played decent. O-line wasn't the problem, which we all thought would be. We started strong, so we didn't have the bad start. There was some bad questionable calls, but it was like we never got that flow where you see Kirk go in the hurry up and you're like, oh, here it is. This guy, JJ's in it. TJ's in it. No one's dropping a ball. And then why we throw to Irv after we haven't thrown to him all year. He finally, he drops that ball, and then KJ dropped a ball that wasn't characteristic. And everybody's going to point to the Kirk Cousins throw, which is such a not a good throw, but a whole game of no QB spying once, and you're going to blame Kirk for the loss on that,
Yeah. Asamoah got hurt early in the game, apparently, with the concussion, so we didn't have a QB spy like we probably were planning on doing it. But I'll talk more about the defense. But since we were talking about Kirk Cousins here, looking at this, sacked 46 times. He was going into the game third, knocked down 84 times, first by like 10. Like nobody was close to him. Hurries 35. I don't know how they figured that out. Blitzed 154 times, fourth in the league. So looking at this stats, are you surprised that Kirk Cousins is alive today?
I tweeted something. I've been defending him all day on Twitter, but not aggressively, and I'm not gonna get into big fights. My thing is this: at the end of the day, I can't argue the whole clutchness. I can't argue that he's not been great in prime time, not great in playoffs. But if you look at his career stats, his durability, all those statistics, all those things, you have to give him a level of respect for what he's done and what he's accomplished. So I think the biggest thing that everybody gets clouded by as an average fan is they all look at the Mahomes, the Josh Allens. They're exciting. They're fun. They make the big clutch play. Yeah, they make the big clutch plays, but they make tons of terrible picks and tons of terrible decisions. Kirk's never going to be the flashiest, but he's
like last year in the playoffs, Mahomes had 11 yards the second half of the game on the game he lost.
So, everybody forgets how bad these quarterbacks play and how many bad games I've seen Brady play. But the thing is, they look and they compare only to they won a Super Bowl, they won a clutch game, or, oh, man, if there's 2 minutes left, I want Mahomes. He runs 34 yards laterally and throws a lucky touchdown to Tyreek Hill, years ago.
So, it's like I say the recency bias. We'll watch a game and then maybe we'll see every play, and then we'll go watch the highlights of all the good things the other quarterbacks do and say, why can't we have that? I had to put up with all the year people saying how Kirk Cousins was having a down year, and let me bring this up. This is fifth in yards, fourth in TD, scoring offense 7th. That looked like a down year. No, it doesn't, right? So, yeah, you got to pull up with that all year. It's like, oh, because the stats weren't as good as last year. No, it's a relative to the rest of the league. He's actually having relatively to the rest of the league a better year. And then, then the clutch gene was there all year. He leads, all that. I could talk, I think you'd post the same thing I did. I read a tweet, I think, where you were a critic in 18 and 19, right? And I was too, because he couldn't. We get the ball late, down by less than one score or one score. We'd get the ball and we would do nothing, or it would be a strip sack, or you try to win on second down, throw a pick, or it was
zero
like, oh my
clutch.
God, what? Yeah. It was like zero clutch, and that was my biggest detractor. Then 2020, 2021, he got even better, and then 2022, whoa, it's like out of the park how much better he was in clutch fourth quarter. Like we were number 1 in scoring in the league in the fourth quarter. We were 30th the rest of the game. And I built it towards our, this what seemed to be a conservative nature of our play calling. And one of the second to last drive, we threw behind the line of scrimmage twice on design plays, a swing pass and then the infamous tight end screen offense we got going on. I don't know why we do that. That was actually the longest tight end screen TJ Hawkinson was able to get, I think, because when his first game, he had 3 losses for like 9 yards on 3 tight end screens on the first game we had him in. I don't know why we go to that, but now it's 3rd and 12, and we had and we don't get anything. Kirk has to throw it away. We punt. But yeah, I mean, I felt there was always a conservative nature, but I built it to, hey, KOC is a leader. He's gonna be. I think he's a decade or longer coach for us because of he's got that leadership quality about him, and offensive play calling and design. He's gonna get that. And look, I could look no farther than what the Rams are doing without him right now, right? So I feel there's a lot behind that. How do you feel about our coach and what he's going to be like for the future?
I look at it as there's been a shift, and before it used to be all about the Belichicks and the Tomlins, and Tomlin's a little bit not that old, but you got these middle-aged to older coaches that have been around and they've seen everything and they have all these advanced schemes. But now it's like, don't count these young guys out, because they're coming in and bringing in new ideas. And to see the positivity, the positivity, the knowledge, and just the overall energy he brings to the team at his age. He's a couple years older than me, and I think this is crazy that the weight and pressure he's holding, and he shows so much poise. And so I think, the future is bright with KOC. He wasn't perfect, but his ownership was unbelievable. Zimmer would just, I always got the grouchy old guy vibes. It was like he just didn't want to be there for press conferences. Who knows what was going behind the scenes, but he didn't have a very good ownership. He would just kind of look at it like, oh, well, the analytics told me I should have done that, or, this is what was the best decision at that time. KOC is like, no, that's on me. That's on me. We should have done better. We could have done better. We're going to learn. We're going to grow. And I love his energy. Yeah, I think he's absolutely the best, if not top 3 coaches we could have brought in from anywhere.
Were you saying WTF when we were 3rd and 1? Well, we thought we were going to get it. It was the right call. TJ Hawkinson did not get the first down. And then they did that real quick review, and they said, okay, 3rd and 1. And we had already called our play. We didn't go re-huddle or anything. We already called our play, and we just went to the line with that pass to right back to
oh god, that was
what the call timeout, coach, and call a different play. Or I guess the headset was off, or like, hey, someone looked at the sideline and say, are we still gonna run this shit?
Well, what I always notice with receivers, there's a lot of smart receivers. JJ is obviously just a purebred natural athlete, and he's obviously a smart kid. But one thing I always notice with every superstar receiver is when they're not in their normal element of running a normal route, they make awful decisions. Like if they're doing any kind of trick play, and JJ really should have looked and said, okay, if I throw this back to Kurt, he's going to have about a half a second to regain that ball and either throw it or take off, which is going to get crushed. JJ should have really just said, I'm going to take off and get 3 yards or whatever, a couple of yards if possible. But yeah, JJ
I would have to go look at that play and see if he could have. Because he only needed 1 yard,
Yeah, JJ could have probably just dove and gone.
Or there should be a second person in the route or something like that. I don't know. But his brother, was a pretty good college quarterback for LSU. I don't know how good, but apparently he said his brother had the strongest arm he's ever seen. But yeah, they used to throw the ball a lot, and that's where he's gotten his arm, is playing catch with his brothers. But yeah,
it wasn't a bad throw back, but you got to think you're throwing at Kirk Cousins with 3D linemen coming in unprotected.
Well, the whole idea, it's 3rd and 1, and they're not going to be playing off you. They're not going to be playing off you, right? And we've already run trick plays like that, similar, not to Kirk Cousins, but I'm like, into Kirk Cousins? I'm like, okay. Well,
that was probably the only really questionable.
It was supposed to be a first down play. That's my whole point. It was supposed to be a first down play, but we ran on 3rd and 1 because so why not? We'll get it. All right. No, damn it. But hey, and then I think people pointed to 4 plays in the game, and that was one of them. and then it was a Irv Smith Jr. drop that killed another drive for us. And then it was the false start, even though freaking the other team, Giants, had a false start, but big time false start. And they scored a touchdown, even though the guy was going to be wide open ass anyways. But hey, Zadarius Smith just stopped and pointed, and he thought, and it was a false start. But our false start, we twitch barely. It was he did, and we don't get the first down. We kick the field goal to tie instead of keep going trying to score a touchdown to go ahead. So those seem to be like the 4 plays that really that was the third play, and then the fourth play would be Kirk Cousins throwing it 40-yard out to Hawkinson with the lineman in his face. I can't look to that and say, hey, that cost us a game, right? You can't think that, because the way the defense, and here we are, the defense today or yesterday, we gave up 430 yards to which has been one of the worst offenses in the league this entire year. I can't forgive it. I can't go into next year. And I don't like people losing their jobs and everything, but I made the point today. We had Pro Bowlers at every level of that defense. And one guy says, yeah, in 2016, no, Harrison Smith was a Pro Bowler last year. Daniil Hunter, playing the right position, would be a Pro Bowler this year, but he's not. He's playing outside linebacker, but he was a Pro Bowler in 2019. Who else? Patrick Peterson, Pro Bowler in 2018 and 19.
Tomlinson, maybe.
Tomlinson was never a Pro Bowler though, but he was played good. He was capable. Yeah. I would say he was borderline Pro Bowl material this year, except for when he got hurt. But we have guys in that lineup. Patrick Peterson might make the Pro Bowl this year if someone bows out, because he's top 6 in like PFF grades right now on cornerbacks. He did have like a low grade on this last game, but hey, I thought we had defensive players on every level. And Kendricks made the Pro Bowl in 2018 or something like that one year.
We were at that Pro Bowl 2020, right before COVID.
Was it 2020?
Yeah.
And it's not like these guys are all 35. Some of them are 30. And then Patrick Peterson and Harrison Smith, and Zadarius Smith Pro Bowler. He's 30. Yeah, he's like 30 or 31. And Harrison Smith is a little older, but he was in the Pro Bowl last year. And, Kendricks, he's 30, or 31. They're not 36 or 38. They're the back end of their prime. You think they could have squeezed at least a halfway decent defense out of this team, but we didn't. And how much do you think it was the scheme, or how much do you think it was the players?
I don't see why there wouldn't.
Because you're the expert. I brought on the expert. This is SKOL Searching. He's an expert in defensive coordinating. So go ahead.
Well, all I can say is I would say it's probably about 60-70% blaming the scheme, and maybe 30% they're just some of the guys weren't as sharp as they should have been.
I'm going to tell you, Kendricks wasn't playing too hard in that game. It was kind of hard to watch.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Sorry, Kendricks. I love you, man. I do.
Yeah, I'm a huge Harry fan, huge Kendricks fan. I'm not sure, and here's the thing, as far as injuries, the team has to report if they know anything. If some of these guys, they're probably not going to say anything if they're really for a playoff game and they're hurting or a little banged up. They could hide that. I mean, I don't really know. I don't want to throw out random excuses that may have no validity, but Kendricks was uncharacteristic in a playoff game to see him, miss a few of those and be off. It seemed like he just wasn't in the right place.
There was one play when Saquon Barkley got to the outside and he was going to trail the play. He jogged. I
saw that. The play. Yeah. Even though
and that's when I was like, holy crap, is this what it's going to be like today? We're not going to run after it in case he cuts back and you're going to be the only one there to tackle him. I'm like, that's where I was like, and then I started to watch him, and then there was missed tackles. That has been a problem a little bit throughout the year with everybody. But yeah, I was a little disappointed. But hey, let's say a good point is Duke Shelley, man. Did we find a diamond in the rough?
Yeah, I love Duke Shelley. Duke Shelley is and I don't know how to say his first name exactly, but Evans,
Caleb Evans.
Caleb Evans. I mean, he got robbed of 3 touchdowns this year. 3 touchdown returns.
concussion problems. You got
But I see a bright future with him if he sticks around. But yeah, definitely Duke Shelley has stepped in and definitely should have himself a spot next year.
Are there some outside of those guys, or other young players that you feel like, hey, could step up because we got some contract issues and we might be seeing some veterans go?
Yeah, Jalen Naylor's young, right?
I know it. Let's go, Jalen Naylor. Go ahead. Hey, there's a
Jalen
joke
Naylor.
out there. Jalen Naylor. I barely knew her.
Wow, and it's
Right,
funny
go
we
ahead.
got two Jalen we got two Jalen's on the team, and I don't expect too much from one of them, but Jalen Naylor, I don't really know. I know I've seen Blake Prohl pop up and off the practice squad, and his dad. I'm sure you know Ricky Prohl was a pretty prolific receiver, so I would
Yeah.
think guys like, unfortunately, BB didn't really make it, because the name, he seemed
They
like a
had
bright,
injury issues and
yeah, small, and he's a real small kid, but fast. You got the heart. He was a hometown guy. I would have loved to see Chad make it, but Ricky Pro, is it Ricky? Yeah, Ricky. He reminds me of kind of another like gritty kid who, if he can end up making that 53 at some point, he could do something. But
yeah, I
yeah,
think he got put on the they called the IR in the beginning of the season. He had like some injury, and he was singing national anthems at the Twins games and stuff like this. Apparently, he's a really good singer. I heard him sing; it's pretty good. But
I
yeah,
actually didn't
yeah.
know he
If you
sang.
go look him up, he's like on YouTube singing the national anthem at Twins games and some other stuff. But yeah, he's pretty good talent. But yeah, it would have been nice to see him. But my big guy is Jalen Naylor. When after we drafted him, I'm like, hey, we didn't draft. I was like, looking at hey, wide receiver early. I thought, hey, let's Adam Thielen contract issue. Hey, let's go get a receiver. I'm like, we didn't. And finally, we drafted one. I'm like, I got a 6th round draft pick. I'm like, well, Diggs was a 5th round draft pick, and he was injured in college. And I'm like, oh, I look at Jalen Naylor. Well, these stats suck. Oh, he was injured all the time. Okay. He was having a great year, and then he broke his hand, which is bad for a receiver. You got to catch the ball. And he was on his track easily for 1,000 yards his last year in college. And I'm like, this guy has got something. And I look more and more, and he's just a playmaker in college. I like him, man. And he's got the Michigan State thing going on with Kirk Cousins. So hey, who knows? Maybe he's found a potential. And people might tease me about this. That's why they say Naylor. I barely knew her to me all the time, but yeah, I think he's got potential, ceiling of a second receiver, and every time he's got it, there's like his first 5 catches in the NFL were for first downs, and one was for a 47-yard touchdown. And then on the next play, he does a double move on a guy, gets another first down. I'm like, he's legit. I think he's really legit.
I think it's like, as a fan of watching a team for so long, you see players that make a play, and all of a sudden you go, that wasn't just like, I know, like Jalen Reagor's touchdown. I was like,
Thielen.
I was just gonna say the block.
His second year, he had like a really badass play, and then the block punt for a touchdown. But he had a couple big receptions.
And it's like, it was like something, I think for me, coming from an athletic background and also having a different perspective, what I can just see it in some of these kids. And I remember the block punt, watching that with Thielen, and I was like, I know this kid. I've heard his name, but I said, yeah, he's going to be something special, at least for special teams or whatever. Sure enough, history, goes. But when I saw Rager finally get a touchdown, I was kind of like, all right, lucky touchdown, whatever. But when Jalen Naylor scored, I didn't even realize he was in the game at that time, and I was like, wow. I said that was an impressive like that was. I thought it was KJ.
And the safety that missed him, he had 3 picks on the year. I mean, he was a starter. So the cornerback, the guy that did the trail technique that was really awful, he was in there as a backup. But yeah, the guy that missed the play from the safety position, he was a starter. So I mean, it's not like it was, and it was coming from Mullins, right? Yeah, it was Mullins throwing that ball. No, was that Kirk? It was Kirk.
I think it was still Kirk at that time.
It was still
Mullins threw some good balls though.
Yeah, Mullins looked good. What do you think about him? I think we found finally our backup quarterback that we can all like and not have to worry about any freaking more. Don't you?
It blew my mind for years how the whole just, like I get we had durable quarterbacks and we had, but who was the longest that we just kept signing over and over that we just finally cut? I don't know. I'm
I
drawing a
call him
blank.
he who shall not be named.
I'm
We'll
looking,
just go with that.
I'm going, why can't we just get a comparable backup, and then I think we had signed Detroit's for a minute, and I was like, okay, he showed signs of life against Chicago a couple years ago. David Hoff or
Yeah,
David Blau.
wow, and he got picked up. Yeah,
And he got picked
off the
up. And
practice
then
squad.
I was a huge Taylor Heineke fan, huge watching his preseason. And I was always like, I
Well,
swear to
he had
God,
that big comeback, and he got hurt, and so he cut him.
I used to always go, I swear to God, Heineke's going to be something someday. And then everyone, whatever. And then all of a sudden he's in the XFL, not even starting. And I'm like, well, I guess I was wrong about Heineke. And then he goes to Washington. I was like, I swear to God, he would have been the best backup we had ever if we would have just kept him. And we could have afforded him for sure, But yeah, finally Nick Mullins, comparable. We're so unspoiled. We're so I don't know what the word is right now, but any comparable backup makes us so excited to see Mullins put a drive together and not be god awful. We're like, wow, he's the greatest backup ever. So yeah, no, excited to have Mullins and the I know we had
and nobody's going to be focused on that in the offseason. That's just another thing. It's like, okay, let's re-sign him or whatever. First, I think you get I don't know how it works with free agents. I think he's only a 1-year deal, but I'm pretty sure he'd probably want to stay. Unless I doubt anybody's looking to be him to be their starter. I don't.
Well, and obviously
that.
the Niners know how to hit the jackpot with backup quarterbacks. So I
guess.
I remember seeing Mullins in San Fran and going, "Oh, who's this kid? Like, he had some good drives in San Fran."
Well, he's got like 2 or 3 games where he's led a blowout. Like he was the winning quarterback in a huge blowout, like throwing big time 4 touchdowns. So he's got that going. I got Purple and Gold for days. He's my co-host on Tuesday nights. Sup, SKOL Brothers. Brother. All right. I don't know. That's my thing. SKOL Brothers and Sisters. I'm gonna have to get t-shirts. But like hey, it. I guess name 3 guys you definitely want to keep and 3 guys you definitely want to let go.
All right. I'm probably going to catch some heat for some of this. And there's a level of bias with, I know you have to cut out personality and home attachments and community. But at the end of the day, I'm not ready.
I'm not ready to coming up here.
I'm not ready to lose. I don't believe Kendricks. That's who Kendricks was. I don't. I think Thielen, Kendricks, and Za'Darius. I need to see him one more year.
That's a lot of freaking money.
I know. And I think the only one that I could see.
Sorry, JJ, we're not paying you this year. Go ahead.
I guess the Za'Darius is one that I could live without, only because I think he lived up to what we expected, but he could have been better. But there's no emotional connection for me with Za'Darius, so I think he's replaceable. So if we have to eliminate one of those, we'll go Za'Darius. CJ Ham. I mean, again, a bias, but best fullback in the league. Fullback's basically a dying breed. CJ is humbly taken probably quite a bit of pay cuts. I know fullbacks are less paid, but I know it's a dumb move. It's a biased emotional move, but Thielen, Kendricks, Ham will fix the budget a little bit. And then I'm about trading. I think we get rid of Cook. I think Madison and Ty Chandler would be an incredible 1-2 punch.
Fan right here. Big Ty Chandler fan right here.
I tailgate with Alex's dad, Daryl, great guy, and so we talk, and obviously he's it's his son, so he's going to be. But we all know that Alex is an absolute comparable, RB1, and there's been some questions. Oh, when he's actually started and the eyes are on him, things were different. But there was so many scenarios in those games that you can't. He needs a real shot to be a starter, and I think he'll prove that. We would be in good shape with Alex.
So you've named you keep Alex. You've kept 5 guys, and I only said keep 3, but you kept 5. So giving away 1. Who are the other 2? Is there 2 others that you can
live without? Well, I'm trying. You're talking about just in general who's up right now as far as free
Well, I
agency.
mean, you got Harrison Smith with a big ass contract. We just talked about our running back. Who else we got? We got Irv Smith Jr. He's a free agent. That'd probably be an easy one. You could
Oh
just throw
yeah,
him in.
that's
No,
too
no one's gonna
easy.
hate
Yeah,
you. No one's gonna hate you for that one. So
yeah. I'll say get rid of Irv. If I had to pick between Harry and
Tomlinson's a free agent.
Irv, Tomlinson, and Cook.
You could see them going. Only reason would say Tomlinson, he's just not a nose tackle and he's not a defensive end, but he's a hell of a good player. And he played really well this year, even though he's playing out of position. So it's really tough to tell. If we had a 4-3 defense, I think we would have did pretty good this year. Maybe with a different D coordinator, but yeah, if you look at that, if we had Danielle Hunter playing defensive end, and we didn't pick up Zadarius Smith, and Wanham was on the other side, we might have looked pretty freaking good. Or what's his name out of Penn? Was it Penn State? Jones.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
rotation with those two guys, the other DN, we would have had, I think, a pretty solid defensive line. But with a 3-4, we got three guys that can't, get any push, and then we got two, and we got an outside linebacker playing out of position. So Darius Smith's the only guy playing in the right position. So it's like that's going into next year, something's gonna change. And it would be mean revamping that defensive line, I think, and he might let go of Tomlinson because he would be expensive, I think.
Well, and I think we had a lot of guys have been in the wrong position or wrong scheme. So yeah, no. If I had to re-solidify, now that I've really thought about it, three keeps. I'm still going CJ. I'm going to change it to CJ, Harry, and Alex, and then losing Irv is an easy one. Dalvin, and then probably unfortunately Kendricks,
Yeah.
just because just money wise. I mean, I love the guy so much, but
Yeah, it's gonna be a struggle. We're gonna have a lot of dead cap space, I think, at the end of this year. But hey, that's the cap is a myth, apparently. So we'll figure it out. And then we got Rob Przinski, who apparently is a genius. I think Purple for the Win does this. I don't know if you've seen Purple for the Win. They put the glasses on Przinski, so I picked these up. Yeah, I stole that.
well,
I saw this guy at a barn when the Miami game hit. We had our fan club, and this guy was wearing these. I'm like, "Where'd you get them?" Well, Amazon, of course. So sure enough, 3-pack for $8. There we go.
well, and I want to say something real quick too that I was talking
Sure.
earlier about. Every year we talk about putting band-aids on stuff and how do we fix this and fix that. My biggest thing that I want to get across to the Viking Nation, the world, whatever, is looking at, so we've been a successful franchise as far as just 3 out of 4 years we're winning team. We're always, it seems like, just a couple pieces away. You look at poverty franchises. I shouldn't say that, but you look at franchises like the Jets, the Browns, up until recently the Bengals, the Jaguars. These teams, some years they're just trying to get, like, let's just get a 500 team. We just need to get in the right direction. Then we'll start worrying about putting together like a Super Bowl team. The biggest thing that our owners have made the mistake of, the Wilfs, is that I think they look at the long-term thing of like, hey, these fans are going to always buy in because we're always decent. We always have a good team. They're going to keep dreaming. We absolutely have to do what the 2021 Rams did and say, you know what, we're going to take a risk that we may suck for a couple of years after, but we need to throw the kitchen sink. We need to do everything we can to buy a Super Bowl team and just do it. Because once we get one, or once we go in the modern era, I promise you, it'll be a monkey off our back and we will go again, or we will win again. It's just that lingering, we're always good and we can't finish. And I'm telling you, the problem is not, coordinator here, guy here. It's a whole winning culture mentality that we've missed the last 30 to 50 years. Basically.
I mean, if you can get after the quarterback and protect the quarterback, put all your freaking money there. You got weapons, so put all your money in offensive line and defensive line there, and play a Duke Shelley, right? Why not?
But I mean, I'm just saying, I'm saying, do what the Rams did. Be like, I don't care about draft picks. I mean, we're maxing out the cap. We are just going to go all or nothing. And guess what? We might suck for a couple of years, but the fans, if you polled every Viking fan in the world and you said, if you win a Super Bowl, but you have to have a losing season for X amount of years, how many years do you think fans would agree to?
Well,
5,
I
10,
literally
15?
did a poll. I literally did a poll, and I said, "Would you?" And it was okay. You could win one Super Bowl and you're gonna die at 70. All right, or you can win 2 Super Bowls and die at 60, and or you can win 3 Super Bowls and die at 50. You can't believe how many people wanted to die at 50 and have 3 Super Bowls. It's kind of crazy. They're willing to die. I mean, that'd be next year for me. No, I mean, like you win a Super Bowl and you got like die the next year. I'm like, it's insane.
Yeah, for me right now, I think I'd be happy with one. I'll probably just take one and live to 70,
I'll
or
take
maybe
one.
2 to 60. But
I mean, at this age, I'm gonna take one, man. But hey, we gone, gosh, like 45 minutes, man. Say again, where they can find you, and everything he's saying is in the description below. But go ahead.
yeah, definitely. So pretty much SKOL Searching username. Right now I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I deleted my TikTok, so as of right now, we're not doing TikTok. But yeah, everything's under SKOL Searching, and hopefully I have some fun projects this year. And I don't know, off season will be a lot of SKOL Searching.
And hey, stick around. I'm gonna end the show, but I'm gonna stick around, Justin. We'll talk. Thanks guys for showing. I got SKOL Searching. We'll have him back on throughout ever, hopefully, and we'll watch him grow. Go click subscribe on his YouTube channel. I forgot to say that earlier, but we'll do that more often. But I appreciate it. Thanks for showing up. SKOL Vikings. See you next time. We out of here.